Hello, everyone. This is Steve Trimble from Deploying the Line. I'm here to talk about my third undefeated score at the GW Tacoma Open, where I just went 9-0 at their event last month. This event was located in Tacoma, Washington, back in my hometown, so I flew up there to go. And I'm going to go as much as I can in depth into the games I played, what they're playing, the scores, and all that. I didn't take any pictures, sadly, because I didn't really think I'd be doing this at a time, but I did set up some TTS images to try and give context and give as much as I thought was happening. So, yeah, let's start. So, my list to start off with, relatively simple. It's on the surface fairly similar to older Mortarion's Hammer lists before people started adopting this one. But it has a couple specific and very important differences that a lot of people were not doing. I'll get to those after the list. So first, I had a Lord of Virulence with the Tendra list of missions. Gives him loan up when he's within 3 of a vehicle, and he has also a 3-inch order of reroll 1 to wound if he can see something. It's just very good. It solves one of the main issues of the Lord of Virulence. If that's he is a one and done type of unit, and he's not cheap at doing that. But when he can just stand out in the open and point at people in your army, shoots them to death, it's very good. Then to Lord of Contagions, which is pretty much what makes Death Shroud from a pretty mid unit. They essentially just have Power Fist and they're not cheap, to essentially the best melee unit in the game, and he's very, very kind of egregious. Then 3 squads of 10 Poxwalkers. Poxwalkers are probably the best, or like very, very like top 5 type of doer units, or like little cultist type little whatever dudes. They're insane because they're T4, they have a Funeral Pain, and they specifically the most important thing is Infiltrate. They're just amazing. Then 3 squads of 3 Death Shroud. This is almost fairly standard, but just slightly different. Most people only take between 2 or 1 squads. Having a 3rd squad, even though they were usually naked, was imperative to my win. Then 3 Blight Launcher Boat Drones. This is not surprising. That's one of the best units in the army. They're very cheap. That's actually why they're so good. 100 points is amazing. They have some specific weaknesses I'll get into, especially in the Daemons game, that people kind of understate. But they are amazing, though. 2 Mephitic Blight Haulers. This is, in my opinion, like the best, like, not necessarily like action monkey unit in the army, but just like unit that does stuff. He's really good for objectives, being OSD3. He's relatively durable, being T9, 10 wounds. With an invul save, he has a very good anti-tank with the +1 to hit and wound tanks and vehicles and monsters, and lethal hits on his melted gun. He's just amazing. I would be running more if I didn't feel like 3 Death Shrouds was mandatory. I could easily, find room to get us a 3rd squad of 2, so having 4 total models. That would have been great. But it's the only unit that was able to be cut, but that's not saying they're bad in any way. And then the most egregious unit in the army is the Plague Burst Crawlers. I had Entropy, which is it's a strength 10 las cannon, so 2 shots at strength 10 -3, d6 +1. With lethal, for all intents and purposes, everything in the army has lethal except very, very, very specific guns. Like 99% of the weapons have lethal, which is very good. And then the Plague Burst Marauder, which is strength 8 -1, 2 shots with 2 damage with d6 +3 shots, and a little very nice stubber. Its most egregious part really is actually its mortal wounds. Its mortal wound ability is just very silly and was very understated how good it was, like leading up into the codex and like the pre-release and stuff. Its ability is once you target the gun, not when you hit, it's when you target, you pick everyone within 3 inches. And after you shoot, you roll dice for all those targeted units. And on a 6, they take D3 mortals, and if they're afflicted, it's on a 5. So like if you use the Mortarion's Hammer ability, which is, if I didn't state, it's at the start of the battle round. The start of the battle round, which is important. You pick 2 enemies outside 12 of your army, and they get automatically afflicted, which in most instances is -1 toughness, -1 arm save. Against specific armies, it's -1 to hit and -1 toughness, which is also very good. So it like vastly accelerates the damage of the Plague Rush Crawler by essentially -1 save to someone, -1 save is way better than +1 AP, by the way, because it works with things like cover. If you have a 2-up save, or for instance, you have a 3-up save, cover does not allow you to get to a 2-up save. So if you afflict a 2-up save unit, they become a 3-up armor save, which means they can never get back to their 2-up save. So even though they have cover and AOC, they're not allowed to like get back to a 2-up save. They're just stuck. But also, a lot of reasons like anti-guns and stuff can be bad. It's because AP1 becomes AP0 because of cover almost always. So this means you always have at minimum 1 AP, which is great for a gun that doesn't require LS. And has very high synergies with the army by being a blast weapon, so the Lord of Marin's ability lets it reroll hits if you can see something. And then the anchovies too, which are secretly one of the best parts about it. Now that Strength T12 is pretty much non-existent in the meta, like it's hard to even think what's T12. You have Rogaldorns a little bit, and usually it's a 1 or 2 on an army that's not exactly that popular. You have Land Raiders, which are they're not seen at all anymore. And then Votann has their Hecaton Land Fortresses, which are relatively popular, but Votann is also not that popular of an army. And that's really it for armies that can even take T12. T12 is really non-existent. The Strength 10 aspect of this army is very amazing in the meta because the meta of the game right now is like T9 or T11 models. Like Knights are T11, a lot of Death Guard stuff, and Armigers are all T9, for instance. While Death Guard with their Strength 10 guns of Blight Launchers, Entropies, all means you win all those things on 4s and 3s. So it means you do a lot of damage in a meta where the things are supposed to be more durable. But that's the list. Now we're going to start going on the games. So first one is against me, Mortarion, versus Pac-Man Zealot CSM. This is on the Linchpin, Search and Destroy layout 1. This is a relatively normal designed Pac-Man Zealots list. Pac-Man Zealots is around a very high damaging gun line based on sus and lethal crits on 5s and reroll hits. So it's important in this meta because this is designed to kill knights and stuff because CSM generically has relatively bad anti-tank. Well, Pac-Man Zealot has incredibly high anti-tank. So the list itself was Abaddon, has the Warlord. He's just the reroll hits aura. Cypher, who has the Vector or the +1 CP aura. A Warsmith of Sinesh. I don't necessarily know why this is here. A Warsmith gives +1 to hit to a vehicle, so make a Vindicator or Fortune on 2s, or I guess you can make the Hellbreak get +1 if you want. Sinesh to advance and charge, fallback charge. I don't really know. I guess his tag doesn't really matter too much. And then 2 of the new stars of the army, the buffed Lord Discordance. They're amazing now because for a lot of things. First, they moved 14, so they're one of the fastest units in the game just as a baseline speed. They're mounted on a big base, which means since they're mounted, they only pivot 1 inch, and their base is very large, so they actually gain inches by pivoting. And it means you can move through your own vehicles and monsters and such as a mounted model. So your essentially vehicle-sized model can just run 20 inches through your Vindicators, and that's very unexpected for your opponent. And it has good abilities. It does mortals to vehicles in the shooting phase, unlike a dice roll. Depending on dice roll, it's X amount of mortals. And his second ability, which is you pick any vehicle within range, LOS I should say, any vehicle within line of sight, it doesn't require range, and then all your vehicles get reroll 1s to wound versus that. So it makes the Vindicator not be able to whiff as much, same thing the Forge Fiends. While the Lord Discordant just does very high damage. He's got 5 attacks with Lance at 3 damage, and he's got 4 extra attacks with either sus or lethal on 5, depending on Slanesh Corn. So he just does a lot. He's very good. And he's not that squishy. He's T9 with a 2-up save, so he's relatively hard to kill. Slanesh 1, he has the Intoxicating Elixir, which gives it a 5 Feel No Pain and a Battle Shock ability. He makes you take a Battle Shock at the beginning of the fight phase. So 5 Feel No Pain is really good. Slanesh is really good for Disco Lords because it gives them the advanced fallback shoot and charge strat while having the gain sus on 5s detachment ability. So it hits insanely hard. And the Corn one, less popular, but the Talisman of Burning Blood is very good. It gives you +2 to your attacks and strength, so there's a lot of stat increases. And it gives you lethal on 5s on your ability. But that also interacts with the Hellbrute. Because we'll just get to Hellbrute real quick. The Hellbrute has an aura of every time you use a Dark Pact, you gain the other ability too. So if you pick Sus, you get lethal. But that interacts with the attachment ability immensely, because attachment ability is you gain crits on 5s when you pick your ability, not just you Sus on 5s, for instance. So that means you get crits on 5s with Sus, sustained, but it also means since you have lethal, those lethals will also crit on 5s. And that combines with Abaddon, so anyone within range of Abaddon, the Hellbrute is, unless they fail their test, which assume they're passing their leadership test. Sus, lethal, 5 up, 4 goes dead. Very insanely high damage. Then he has 3 squads of Khorne cultists. I don't necessarily know why it's Khorne. Khorne strategem's not very good. It's just fight on death on a 30 up if you're Khorne, or 4 up if you're not. And then it gives you lethal on 5s in melee, and they're not doing any damage. And then he has a Rhino for one of those cultists, which has to be Khorne to transport them. And then to the more normal stuff is 2 Vindicators of Nurgle. That gives you an 18-inch can't shoot me strat, or Lona. And then that gives you the sustained 5+ in shooting, which is the best possible buff. And then he says Squad of Chosen to lead Abaddon, just so he can get fallback, shoot, advance charge, and make him a lot better, and have a Blade of Wounds. And then 2 Fortunes, 1 Undivided, 1 Nurgle. That is the very normal number. While you're Undivided, you can't get Sus lethal on 5s, since you can't get those keywords. It gives you real ones to hit always, which is nice. It means it's solo. But also, the Undivided strat is full rerolls to wound. So it's just very efficient solo Stravazer type piece. And then Nurgle we already talked about. And then finally was the Hellbrute, which just has a hammer and a Melta. And it's just Slanesh. Slanesh is the best for that type model, because it can give you fallback, shoot, advance, and charge as a strat. And then it gives you the sustained in melee, so you can be sane lethal on 5s in melee, which is very good. It makes you do a lot of damage. As you see by the score, though, is he did not... it's a very good matchup for me. It's mostly a very small amount of units that are either low toughness vehicles, like it's a T10 Forge Fiends, T9 Disco Lords, and the Vindicators are slightly higher toughness, but being T11 means to go to T10 usually in this army, which means I can win them fairly easily. Or infantry models, which get very hampered by by the Plagueburst Scholars, to say the least. So as you saw, I essentially tabled him by like turn 3. That's why the score kind of peters off by there. I'm going to pull up the images to get more context. So here's my deployment. My deployment's on the left. They're usually very similar to this. So usually the Plagueburst Scholars are always like this, and like some triangle behind my back DZ wall. Obviously in other games you'll see slight differences, but this is like the generic. Usually you have some blow drones in positions where they're not really getting shot turn 1, but they can get into good positions for turn 2. So I like setting up on table 1 this area over here to be able to advance on turn 1 down here, so in turn 2 they can go onto this ruin to get good, able to shoot anywhere, because you can shoot this way, you can shoot this way, you can shoot this way. The world's your oyster. And this attachment also has move through walls as a strat, so it lets positioning much easier. The Lord of Virens, there isn't an army. Some armies can send a suicide model to kill him on turn 1 if you deploy him like this. Something like T-Suns, you can go like 20 inches and like mortal wounded death. But if an army can't do that, like CSM just walks normally and shoots with his long ability that is unshootable, a position like here is very good, because it lets him either advance out this way and see stuff, or go either these directions, or just stay around here and look at things. He needs to look at things for his ability. And then I like having a forward Mephitic, because like I said earlier, in the army list, Mephitic are the best go-do things. So it's the best unit to like go send on objectives over here, or send on the midfield turn 1. And it's a good like bait unit, cause like it's a unit I don't care about too much. That's the intricacies of the army is, since you have such a low amount of units, like it's essentially just 7 vehicles, 3 squads of cultists, and 3 infantry squads in reserve. You have a very, very low amount of things. That's what the difficulties of playing this army come from. I'm not gonna say Mortarion's Hammer is hard, but it's not face roll like the Index or the Death Guard is. That doesn't really have much choice in what you do, how you play the game. It kind of just pilots itself. Mortarion's Hammer, you have to do stuff, because it is, I would say, the strongest attachment, not even close, but it has specific weaknesses at being a very weak primary army. You don't have a lot, your stuff isn't very good at controlling decks, unless you have as Poxwalkers, and they usually die relatively quickly. So you need to know how to send out your vehicles, like my Mephitic here, these blow drones, how I need to know how to suicide them, when and how I can use them correctly. So I really usually like playing a Mephitic around here for that purpose. And then I infiltrated all my poxhunters into positions where they could do stuff. Like here, I like this position up here in the middle because he's up close, but this type of wall, even on the GW layouts, the real ones, the walls aren't this big, but still here he can't be shot unless they're like over here. It gives him presence to move out turn 1, but also be safe completely. Same thing here. It's just going to be holding its objective, and you just don't start on it, so they can't get they can't get kill points on here, but you'll be ready to walk onto it. And then here's another good spot because it's like hard to get to because your opponent either has to fully be on the rune to siege you or like shoot you from all the way down in the corner. Like their corner up here would be that spot. There's just like a good defensive spot. For the CSN deployment, like I said, this is all from memory, so some of it might not be correct. I apologize for that. I'll start taking pictures in the future. So this is the Abaddon Council list, so everything needs to be around Abaddon. I am fairly certain he reserved, I'll get to the reserves afterwards, but here they are real quick. He reserved a Discordant Lord, so there's only one here, but he deployed his Hellbrute, a 14 ready to poke out and shoot, his Cultists around doing things, and then Cypher was hanging around somewhere in his deployment. It was either here or here. It doesn't matter. He doesn't play too much of a point in this game. His Rhino was either here or here. I can't remember exactly, but it was around this area where he couldn't be shot turn 1, ready to move out and go try and take that objective. And Abaddon was trying to be safe and not die. And then his Hellbrute was hanging out. But the issue with this deployment, which is kind of like a catch-22 for this army versus Death Guard, Plague Guard specific though, it's not really a fault of his own necessarily, is since you need to castle so much, and castling is directly countered by the Plague Scholar. Because if you see around Abaddon, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units. So I was rolling 6 mortal wound dice rolls every time I shot a Plague Scholar. And I shot every Plague Scholar at Abaddon squad turn 1, for instance. So I got to roll 18 chances to do a bunch of mortals. And I did probably close to 20 mortals to all these different units on turn 1. Which is not good. You don't really want that to happen. I got Abaddon to essentially, I think, 1 cultist at like 2 wounds, or 1 chosen at like 2 wounds, and did a bunch of damage to a bunch of other random stuff. There's the thought, like, some people think you just need to kill the cultists on turn 1. Just blast them. They're easier to kill. Like, obviously, like, Plague Scholar shooting 2 damage to a 3 wound chosen is kind of less efficient. You lose half the damage, essentially. But this is super important, because this is essentially his whole army. Once Abaddon's gone, he can't do anything. And it's so much extra free damage I was acquiring by just shooting him with the, getting all the extra mortals, while these cultists didn't have anything around them. So that was essentially the game plan. To get context into the next couple of turns is, I shot Abaddon. I killed most of his dudes on turn 1. And then on his turn 1, he moved out. And I moved some models. Like I moved this Mephitic up. I moved this one up. Tried to bait out a Vindicator, and I moved all my blow drones into the L over here. I advanced these 2, this one moved up. So I had this nice little blow drone wall, while my Plague Scholars stayed around here. This one moves right here. He can't really shot anything, but he's hanging out by the wall ready to move out if he needed to. And his turn 1, he just essentially, he didn't have anything to do. The only things he could do was maybe shoot this Forge Fiend and this Vindicator out. And that's what I was hoping he was doing. That's why I moved my Mephitic up to essentially bait him out. And that's what he did. He put his Vindicator here, he put his Forge Fiend here, ready to shoot me, and then his model was his Discordant Lord is chosen, blah blah, they all moved up here and such. And Abaddon hung around obviously to shoot. And then he blasted my Mephitic, he died. And then on my turn 1, I blew his Vindicator to death with no effort. I blew his Forge Fiend to death with no effort because I moved all my drones on the ruins so they could see, 1 drone here, 1 drone here, shoot, shoot, 1 drone over here, shoot, shoot. And then I started bringing my Death Shroud. So how you play Death Shroud is very important, because in almost no instances, I'm going to get into one later where you kind of have to, you should bring in all the squads at turn 2. I usually only bring in 1 squad in turn 2, for instance, because that lets you, since they're so hard to deal with, your opponent has to always pay attention. So I usually bring 1 squad turn 2 to go do stuff, 1 squad to rapid ingress turn 2 on my opponent's turn, and 1 squad to deep shock in turn 3. On this game, I did that, but by turn 2, he had essentially no models left. I just shot them more to death and death. I wish I had more pictures, but I don't, so something to talk from context. yeah, like I said, on my turn 2, I killed like 3 of his vehicles. Almost all his infantry was dead by that time. And he brought more things out to strat reserve and try and shoot me back, like kill some blow drones and such. He failed to kill one. He brought one down to like 1, another one down to like 2 or something. So he whipped a couple times over there. And then I brought my second Death Shroud, and Senchi's army was tabled on turn 2. As we saw by the score, there wasn't much going on. He just had he got his one primary up here with his little cultists and his home field, and that was about it. Well, I just scored out the rest of the game. Well, that was it. That was game 1. Like I said, it's a really bad matchup for him, so I feel kind of bad, but yeah, that's how it is. And then here's the strat reserve, like I said. He had one cultist in his Rhino, and I know he strat reserved. I'm almost certain he strat reserved a Vindicator, and the Lord scored it, and he 100% did this because he brought him down next to the other Forge Fiend right here. Both Forge Fiends are right here. But yeah, there's also a random extra Death Shroud here. Ignore that. It's on the other pictures. But yeah, if you're gonna see in the game, all my strat reserves and deep strikes are the exact same. Every single game, I deep striked all 3 of these. You're gonna do that to like 95% of the games, maybe not 100% of the games. So like certain matchups you can, but for all intents and purposes, you can think yourself, I'm just going to deep strike all 3 squads. Game 2, this was versus a relatively newer player. Maybe the score doesn't show that as much because the game wasn't really over till turn 4. But he was a newer guy. There isn't too much to talk about here. He's also playing kind of like a strange detachment that most people aren't playing. We had a great game. He was a great guy, but he really didn't know what to do against the Piper Scrawlers. So his list is he has Zogrod leading 20 Grots, 2 Shock Attack squads, leading I'm pretty sure it was the Tank Busters and a Luda squad. 2 random mechs, they're solo, just hang out in the trucks. I guess this one has Smoky Government, which I think gives you stealth or cover, so it was most likely leading maybe like one of these other units. I can't remember exactly, it didn't matter too much, sorry. Maybe it was like no, I don't know. Tank Busters? I don't know. Sorry. But like I said, he had 20 Grots, Bazogrod, 4 squads of 11 Grots. And then he had a bunch of random stuff, like 5 Burners to go in a transport with one of the 6-mans, another 5 Flash Hits to go in the squads, 2 squads of Ludas, 1 Knob squad, some Storm Boys, which were in Deep Strike, some Tank Busters, a Gorkon, and like the main unit of the army was the Killicans. This is the vehicle Grot detachment, so they get like all the buffs. They all have rocket launchers, which are D3 blast, strength 8, 3 damage guns. Single Boba Chucker, it's kind of like a meme gun, just like random out of profiles. 2 trucks to hold like the Tank Busters, the Knobs, the Flash Kits, and the Burners. And then a Gorkanaut, which held a squad of Ludas. So yeah. I was slightly incorrect here, I am remembering now, is I remember he had 1 Luda squad in reserve. Yeah, so he had 1 Luda squad in reserve, and then he had the Knobs with the Flash Kits. So he had Knobs here with Flash Kits, he had Tank Busters with Burnas, and then he had another Luda squad hanging out with, in the Gorkanaut, and then in his strat reserve he had these little Killicans, who came out to my DZ turn 3, and then the Storm Boys, and then mine was the same. So deployments, like I said, since his deployment essentially consisted of just vehicles and Grots, most things were either in vehicles or in reserve. I didn't know exactly where everything was. Gorkanaut was around here, ready to poke out turn 1, while his 20-man Zogrod was on the Rhine, ready to scout 9 inches, or I think it's scout 9. Might be scout 12. Either way, go really fast. And then a bunch of other random 10-man Grots. He has 2 trucks down here with some other Grots, with either like the Tank Busters and the Flash Kits, and then just a Bow Chucker hanging out over here. My deployment was very similar to the first one. Like I said, I had my little triangle-ish of Plague Scrawlers. This one's ready to potentially move out through the wall. This one's ready to move through this space. This one's ready to position over here. That's a very common thing. This Mafig Blyhar, which, as I said, is usually hangs around here, ready to go turn 1 this objective. And my drones around in positions ready to, fight the enemy. This is a great spot for this one. Like I said, you can fight all the corners. Same thing here, you can fight most directions. And this one here likes to hang out in his little L. And then my infiltrators, I had the normal up at the top left Poxwalkers, the same metal deployment I did in the first game. And the second deployment, which you can see better over here, is just screaming out Zogrod. So he could only go essentially right, which I don't care about, or in his DZ. You can't leave his DZ going this direction. I fully blocked him out. Which is good because Zogrod's one of the best units in the army. You essentially can go like 20-something inches in turn 1 and charge someone, which is really bad for this army because this army is blast guns with no fallback and shoot. But how the game went was I just was burning down his stuff. Like, trucks are T8 with a 4-up save, so they're like one of the worst units possible. Against a Plague War Scholar, I wound him on 3s and they get a 5-up armor save. So turn 1, I blew up most of the trucks. I killed 1 truck for sure, and then I shot the second squad, whatever unit popped out inside. I'm pretty sure it was the Knobs, and I killed most of them. I was left with like 2. Well, also, you know, he couldn't really do anything. I sent out my Mephitic to bait out his Gorkanaut, hoping he'd want to kill it, and that's what he did. And while he, essentially his army came into this L, everyone just came over here, is how it essentially worked. So that's where I sent my army. I started poking at my Plague War armor so I can get LOS shooting. When they're hitting on 3s full rerolls and can shoot the direct line of sight guns, they are so much better, and I value them as the best unit in the army when they hit on 4s and no rerolls, so yeah. I deep strike my death shot to fight everyone over here. It was essentially just like a slaughter, like a death bowl over here. The only things he could do was like he brought his strat reserve looters over here to fight me, just shoot me. Looters are not very good at killing most things in my army. Like they're okay at killing death shot if they don't cover. That's about it. So they didn't really do much, and then I just blew them up on the next turn. I'm pretty sure they shot my Mephitic to death combined with other things. And then on his turn 3, he brought down his kill cans over here to kill a tank, and then I just killed the kill cans with my blow drones and my other tanks. And I brought down actually rapid ingress to Deshra squad right in front of them, so I could make sure they were fully cleaned up. Yeah, like I said, I did a thing I talked about. I just had only 1 squad down here on turn 2, kept 1 for rapid ingress, which I did on his turn 2, and then on my turn 3, I kept in reserve 2 rapid ingress again to counter the kill cams. But essentially it was, you know, Orks are innately not very good versus this army. Because like I said, the Gorkanaut poked out, he shot a Mephitic, probably didn't kill it, because I think I smoked. Everything's running, he's on 5s. And then I blew it up with direct line of sight, entropy cannons, and blow drones, full reels to hit. Even though that is T12 still, because it's kind of like the old Knight stat line. But it doesn't have a save. It's got like a 3-up and a 6-up invuln save. It doesn't have 5-up invuln save. It's very, very squishy. Well, essentially, he scored this amount of points because he has so many units, so let him, even though he was essentially tabled by turn 2, it let him kind of play out turn 3. But the game was over by turn 2, sadly. Turn 3, game 3 though, this was the closest game of the tournament. We forgot one thing though, is I did have one more challenge card on turn 3. I forget what it was. It might have been the real once to hit and wound thing. I completely forgot about it, so it's my fault. But it didn't make a difference to the score, because if you wanna, the end thing of the game was I went second, and the getting 3 extra points from this did not matter at all, because it was I needed get supply drop, and I needed to get storm to win, no matter what. And that was the same thing. It was hold the middle, because we were playing. This was Hammer of the Emperor versus not Hammer of the Emperor, Mortarion's Hammer versus Combined Arms Guard on supply drop, Hammer and Anvil layout 8. So no matter what, my other secondaries didn't matter. I was either winning by 1 or I was losing. I guess I could have, no prisoners could have been something that scored 5, and I could have won that way, but I didn't draw that. It didn't matter. I'm pretty sure I did discard, I just didn't put it in the system. Pretty sure I drew 2 secondaries I couldn't do. But yeah, so like I said, that was just the point I was trying to make, was this challenge card didn't matter, even though I forgot about it. Gaining 3 extra points doesn't matter. It's not, it's not a team's matchup. You win by 1, you win. So his list though is a very unique list, and this is the type of list, as we can see by the points, that I think is one of the best armies to play into Mortarion's Hammer, especially in supply drop, because it's multiple things that Death Card doesn't like. It's a good primary army, having a bunch of 20-mans that can be rezzed and a bunch of annoying vehicles. It's versus a bad primary army, so the scale is both different ways. I'm bad at primary, he's good at primary, so the primary is really bad. This is one of the most primary important missions ever, because it's supply drop. You don't score for your home field, which I kind of rely on a lot of times. as you can see by me scoring no primary like at all during this game. He didn't score a lot, but he was just stopping me essentially. And I was focusing on stopping him as much as I could. But yeah, he's a good primary relatively, and I'm a bad primary army. I have a low amount of units, he has a crap ton amount of units. And he can throw, like, with that type of a statement, he can throw away stuff I can't. I essentially have 7 units plus 3 cultists plus my deep strikers. Well, he has a lot more. He has 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then he had a soul squad. So about 14 units that could do stuff versus my maybe 10. So yeah, that was the game. Let me get to the deployment stuff real quick. So this is, if I remember correctly, this is essentially what the deployments looked like. I infiltrated Poxwalkers on both objectives over here, because with this on table 8, if you're like here, it's kind of hard to get LOS. So you can only get LOS right over here, which I'm perfectly fine if he's over here. And then the third squad didn't really have anywhere to be, so I just put it up here to try and block like a Torx running at me and stuff. And I tried to make my PVT castle. This is really the only place that's safe that's not also in the corners doing nothing, because they can also move onto this train piece and shoot people out. Pew pew pew. I have my little side Mephitic to do side things, like maybe walk on this objective on like turn 2 or 3, shoot people downrange with this missile, etc. He's not really that important. And then if I remember, my blow turns were around this position. Because getting here lets them, they can either move right here and shoot down this direction, which leads to my idea of putting him over here, or come up here and shoot this direction, which is very important. And then I have my little man. His deployment was, he just had essentially 2x2 tanks everywhere. He has Chimera here, his Hellhound here, and in the Chimeras and his Toraxes were all the Casterkins. He had this cool unit, which was a solo command squad led by an Ogren bodyguard. So the rules of leaders is you take the leadership of the bodyguard unit. So essentially, if they're leading, say, Kriegers, they become T3. But otherwise, you use the highest toughness of a unit always. So since this is not leading anything, and they're just hanging out with an Ogren who's T6, the unit becomes, every model becomes T6 until he dies for all intents and purposes. But it's a really cool solo unit to go do things. He's like annoying too, because he's like, he has a fatal pain, like 4 wounds to the impulse save. Then you get Ursula Creed with another command squad leading 10 dudes, so it's like a 17-man unit or whatever, just hanging out in the backfield. This unit, as you can see, fully screens out the backfield, and he essentially kept them there all game just to stop me. And then he has 20-man Death Corps and Krieg squad on the left to hold this objective behind the wall. They heal like D3+1 models or something a turn, so they're very annoying to deal with. And then, like I said, he has 3 transports with his guys inside, and then he has 3 Leman Ursas around here, and his Orgaldorn right in the middle, ready to just come over here and shoot people. His Torex advance up, and his other tanks moving in. So the game was very hard to say. To things I tried to focus on killing turn 1. I picked them, which was a mistake. This was a mistake. I could, killing the whole squad on turn 1 was not going to happen really, unless I got lucky, and they did not matter. They stick you to the home field, they do free strats, but I think they didn't do anything. But otherwise, I picked them, and probably the Kriegers. Yeah, I didn't really know what to target on turn 1 this game. Like, I probably could have killed a Chimera, because they're only T9, they're essentially a Rhino, for all intents and purposes. And that would have been good. But I didn't. So I just focused on doing some damage to his, what's-her-face squad, or Ursula Kree squad. Because I wanted to try and kill his free strats. I shouldn't have, it was a mistake focusing on this unit. Because really the only important things in his army, the only things that his army can do anything to me, is the Orgaldorn. There's only one of them, and the second he like pokes out, luckily it's just table 8, so it's like not a lot of like full board LOS spots, so I can't really shoot him with my army even if he pokes out, so it's really good. This board's very favored for him, which was good. But him, the Kazrakin kind of, they can kill my dudes, so they're not going to kill vehicles, and otherwise it's just a couple of the battle tanks. But they need like ignore cover or +1 AP to do damage because they're only AP1. So he doesn't have too much threatening pieces, which shows by the end of the game. So turn 1, he like moves stuff up. He like he sends his Toroks out to like. He does make like a good play. Like he sends him out, goes like because you can advance and disembark, and he goes really far up here to like try and kill my Lord of Variance on turn 1. And he did not succeed, but he got him down like 2 wounds or something. And that was really good because it also body blocked me as like 10 Khazarkin just like this, so I can't really move anywhere. While also holding this objective with his 20 dudes, and then sending tanks over here to hold this objectives. And then he staged on this rune behind his wall, like his version of this rune. He staged like a Chimera, his little cool bodyguard squad, and then his Rogadorn was hanging out. So I didn't have much things to do on turn 2 still. I started killing some things with like deep strikes. I like deep strike Death Shroud over here to go deal with this crap down here. Oh, sorry, this is my side. Over here, which is his version of over here, to deal with his tanks over here. And then throughout the game, we were essentially just trading pieces and piecemealing each other's stuff. And there wasn't a lot of specifics that happened throughout the game. I made one really good rapid ingress play over here on like turn 3, where he didn't really have anything to shoot that let me like deal with some vehicles and stuff. Deal with his Khazarkin that was over here. Oh, sorry, it was like right here. I made a rapid ingress play like right here because I wanted to, because I'd killed his Khazarkin by then and they brought them back. So I was like, all right, I only need like 2 to 3 Death Shroud to kill another 20 man, and then I can go start touching his tanks, which was the plan, and the plan worked out. So I touched his Rogadorn and his Lemanus that are hanging out here on turn 3 and just kept him in combat. But yeah, by the end of the game, go back to the score, it was I had a Plague Wars Crawler, one of these right here, and I had a Bloatron right here. Both these objectives were gone. And then maybe I had like an infantry. Nothing mattered. And all he had was his, and then I had, the issue was eventually my Death Shroud got stuck in combo with these assholes for a turn. So turn 5, I couldn't leave. They were like fully body blocked. So my Death Shroud were useless over here. So, and he had these ladies not doing anything, and he went first, obviously. So it was my turn 5. So it's just the only things I had in my army. And the only thing he had in his army was he had a Leman Russ. Sorry, I'm just going to score. He had a battle tank right here. And I had a Plague Squad right here on the terrain piece. So you can see me. And he shot me on his turn, and he got me down to about 2 wounds. And I had a Mephitic Blighthauler right here. So first, I had to pass both my leaderships. Because I needed to take the supply drop. You know, I got a 15, so spoiler, I did. And I needed to storm. This is both imperative. Because I couldn't win, because Lemanus is OC4, and I have 2 OC3 vehicles, so they both need to get on the objective, they both need to be on Battleshock, they both need to live. It's very sus, to say the least. So I auto-passed 1, and 1 passed. So that was good. Off this good step 1. I moved my Mephitic, because it's like a full off, he's not going to kill it, and he only has a chance of killing the Plague Scholar to get on the objective. And the Plague Scholar, I don't need to do any damage, I just need to get on the objective, so it does not matter if I advance or not. He overwatches me because that Leman Russ also has 4 rerolls to hit against a target that's on an objective. And he shoots his battle cannon, and this is the AP1 battle cannon, so I get 2 up saves. Thank God I have 2 up save. And I pass, he makes like 2 6s, and his combined arms gives you lethal 6 against the same target as you, so vehicle to vehicle, he gets lethal hits. And I pass like the 1 battle cannon save, he passes me, which is great. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna live. The multi-melted does like nothing, or maybe it does 1 and I save it or something. Either way, it wasn't important. It was the battle cannon make like 2, I passed them, and then the stubber rolled like 5 or 6 6s to hit. I was like, holy crap. I failed 1 save. I didn't re-roll it, because like, alright, there's more saves, I'll re-roll the second one. Having 1 wound is the same as 1 wound, 2 wounds, and I passed the second save. So he gets me down to 1. So it was 1 failed save away from losing the game, because like I said, I needed both those dudes to win, because that was the 19 points I needed. But yeah, that was the game. It was super close. It was pretty intense. It showed like the weaknesses of the army sometimes. Like I could really do anything most of the games. Like my profiles aren't very efficient to him. Plus the primary aspect is the worst part. But that was a great game. We had a lot of fun. And then here's the deep strikes. Like I said, he just had Catechins transports, and I just had dudes in deep strike. Here we go. This was Daemons. This is a full melee army versus my shooting gun list. It's very unfavored for him. because it lets me do things that I normally can't do. So I'm just gonna mention deployment real quick. It's do things like this, where I can deploy like drones and PVCs out in the open because he can't shoot me. He's been demons, they don't have guns, so it's really good for me. So I'm gonna get back to his list. He had Karanak, which I'll just talk a listen and get what he talked about, which is really cool. And this is Hammer Mortarion on Demonic Version, the index attachment, on Hidden Supplies, which is 6 objectives on Crucible, on layout 6. So you had Karanak leading some Fleshhounds, Scarbrand, that's his Skaban, but Scarbrand, Mr. Skulltaker, who was solo, he's the named Bloodletter character, a Bloodmaster, who's the leader of the Bloodletters, he's only 4 reels to wound. A Bloodthirster with Argath, King of Blades. It gives a +2 attacks and strength, so it gets up to strength 18, which is a very important breakpoint of a T9 meta, and then like a strength 10 sweep, which is also very good too. The normal, great and clean with the Eminence Glyph. This unit's very good. 2 Ren Masters, which are the Chariots that give +1 strength, AP, and damage for Corn units. Obviously, insane buff. We'll get into like the issues he had with this unit though. This game. And then Deep Strike Bloodletters, hanging out with his Bloodmaster. Just some sticky ejected Plague Bearers. Beast and Urgle, and then the cream of the cream, the Fleshhound. So this Karanak plus Fleshhound squad is not a normal thing, but he described it in a very cool way. So Karanak has like anti-character 3-up, and then full rerolls to wound versus his hunted target. He picks target at the beginning of the game, and he gets full rerolls against that target. And his weapon is like 6 attacks at 633 or like 623. But once you take a 1 to 2 Ren Masters, he goes up to like damage 4 or 5. His Fleshhounds go up to like damage 2 and 3. One squad of 5 Fleshhounds with 1 to 2 Ren Master buffs plus Karanak like 1-shots a night, which is really sweet in this meta. So that was a really cool thing he had in his list. Obviously, I don't have Ignites, but that was hypothetically cool, and he was talking to me about it. I was like, that's sweet, dude. So let's get to the deployment real quick, and we'll go back to the scores afterwards. I do my relatively normal Mephitic deployment, but this isn't normal because I can be on the open versus the no-gun army. I like putting Bonkoppers right here, just right outside my DC, so they're close enough to go onto either of these objectives, just doing stuff. 1 squad of Plague Bear, whatever these called, Poxwalkers up here, not on the objectives. That's a mistake. Don't do that because then they can get kill things on objective secondary turn 1. And the one in the backfield just to screen out some stuff deep striking me, especially if I go first, then that means he can turn 1 deep strike if he can bring up like his blood dudes. Like he can go and reserve 2 units turn 1, and they can deep strike more over here. So I gotta screen that out. And then just like my vehicles and like a little conga line over here, so like Mephitic, some drones, some PBCs, and my little man, my big man, and then like I said, my cool forward-facing Mephitic. He's demon, so he doesn't actually deploy too much things, especially demon mons because they can die to PBCs with no effort. It's like the biggest issue with demons is you're rolling 4s and 5s. Versus me, and I love that because I normally have to work to get you to a 4 save, and if you just give me a 5-up or a 4 save automatically, that's really bad for him. So he either deploys 1 Fleshhound or 2, I can't remember, but it was essentially 1 to 2 Fleshhounds, the Plague Bear squad, Mr. Great and Clean one, the 2 Ren Masters, and a Beast and Urgle up here, and we'll get to the structures in a sec. This was actually the biggest mistake of the army, which is we talked about throughout the game, is these guys could not do anything all game until turn 3. They were how this deployment works. If he's not like in this corner and he like tries to move up, I can shoot him with blow drones going this direction or like this direction. And these things are like TA with like 8 wounds or something. They're made of paper. They'd die in one second. So for literally 2 turns, they just have to hide behind his DZ, and they're essentially his most important unit. He should have reserved at least 1, something we both talked about, or maybe count 1 up here. They just didn't do anything all game. And then he reserves, he had both his Bloodthirsters, he had his Bloodletter squad, the character, his Mr. Man Dude, and the Karanak squad, Skulltaker. He luckily got, I think this unit was slightly farther up, because what happened was he went first, and he advanced and charged, and he turn 1 charged me. He rolled like a 6 on the advance, and he went for like a 7 charge into my tanks, and he made it. And it showed the biggest downside of bloat drones is their blast in an army that doesn't have fallback and shoot. They are better than Predators, but not strictly better for that reason, as people like to say though. Because Predators will shoot combat, they don't give a crap. This guy just does not do anything. These 3 bloat drones, I shot them a total of all 3 of them 2 times this whole game because they were in combat the rest of the game. And how it worked was it was in combat also with my PVCs, so I couldn't just stay in combat. I had to stay in combat with the PVCs because they'll just shoot their mortars and stuff and don't give a shit. And most of the things in his army can't kill PVCs in melee. It's really just the bloodthirsters. So my blow drones kept getting piled into or getting touched, which was a mistake of mine. And I've never seen someone with flesh hounds go for the terminal alpha charging. It was my mistake. I should have this guy slightly farther back. But yeah, but that mistake led to me not shooting them ever. But what happened though, the main thing that happened throughout the game was Grand King 1 came to the middle, and I just charged it with my PVC because Grand King 1 can't really kill a PVC in melee. You can get lucky and do some amount of damage, but my PVC will just stay in combat and it'll just keep this guy stay here. And that's what I did for 2 turns. I just kept this guy away from me. But the issue with, like I said with Demons earlier, is they're very weak to this type of army. He brought down some Bloodletters here, and over here, his Blood Master, and then he finally brought his Red Masters over. But I was just, my shooting profiles are so good into that type of army, not even including the Death Shroud, who would come in and just, he brought, a Bloodthirster here, and, his Bloodletters here, and then a 3-man Death Shroud killed, every single model. After, the Blood Drones did, 10 damage to, or, it was probably, 15 damage, actually, the Bloodthirster shooting. So, yeah, that was essentially the game. Is as you can see, he scored 1 primary, which was just his great and clean one being here on turn 2. And then on turn 3, he just walked into my DZ to try and touch me some more. So he didn't score anything on turn 3, while scoring a couple of points. But, so this is another game where, by turn 3, the game's essentially over. He scores a couple of points with his 2 extra models that are left. Because by my turn 3, I had brought a squad of Death Shroud here, and they were on his home field. They already taken his objective, so he didn't get anything for that anymore. And the Plague Bearers were dead. So that was that game. Turn 5 was the funny game. This was the mirror. Well, we're playing very, very similar lists. You're going to see deployments in a second. So he's playing, also Hammer. This is on Scorched Earth, Tipping Point, Layout 6. He has slightly different, fairly important differences in the list, which caused me to be very favored in this matchup. He brought the Hellbrutes, which are just really bad in the mirror because they're very low toughness and they have a very low amount of wounds. They have 8 wounds at T9. They're cool to things like Knights and such because they have 6 attacks at wounds on 2s, which is very good, hypothetically. But he has a solo Typhus, and the actual biggest difference is he only has 1 Death Shroud squad. And essentially, whoever has more Death Shroud is so favored in the matchup. It's not even a thing, especially and the Pockmarkers too. That's why we can talk more specifically on why I brought my list and not a more normal one of 2 Death Shroud and 2 Pockmarkers is. The Pockmarkers are so good and so important of screening out your army of having a low amount of units, and the Death Shroud are so good is that you really need all 3 of both squads. Because 1 extra Mephitic isn't going to help you too much of having a whole Death Shroud or a whole Pockmarker squad, and the Hellbrutes are just, like I said, actively bad in the mirror. They're better in other things, but as we'll see later you don't need them to beat Knights. I think this army beats the living crap out of Knights in general, as I played them 3 times in this event. Because I don't think a unit that somewhat counters Knights makes it up for making the army worse. Because cutting Death Shroud I don't think is acceptable. But yeah, it's Typhus, a single Lord of Contagion, first 1 Death Shroud, the solo Lord of Virulence, solo Tallyman. This is also a question of my list could easily fit in. Well, obviously you can fit the Tallyman over another Poxmark, you just have to play down points. Do you do that? And I would say never. Index, it makes more sense because the stats are so good. This detachment, the strats, do not mean anything. Literally at all. The turn a terrain piece into Affliction is very good. That's really it. Move through walls is okay, but since you're not a melee vehicle army, it doesn't really matter that much. Yeah. So that's why I went with 3 Poxmarkers at the time, man. It's just not that important, this detachment specifically. So, as you can see by our deployments, they're very, very, very similar. Oh, I forgot. Sorry, he has another PVC right here. We essentially have the same type of deployment right here. Where we have a Mephitic in the middle, with a Foetid Blow Drone, a PVC right here by the wall. His was slightly farther back. Oh, sorry, this is mine. This is my deployment. It's hard to tell. But this is mine. So I have a PVC here. I just forgot to put it here. One here, right behind the wall, ready to move through the walls or move out this way. Mr. Mephitic. The Lord of Daemons is right here. Sorry, you can't really see him too well. A blow drone and some poxwalkers right off the wall. And then the issue with table 6 is what we'll get into is it's such a insanely bad shooting lane. Is like this is the only somewhat safe place in the middle of the board that isn't like directly just behind a wall not moving. But this is still like you can kind of get to this. Like if you're over here, you can get a line here. So I placed one blow drone here, knowing he can't shoot me in turn 1 because Death Guardian's relatively slow, so it can't shoot or anything. But I'm like, this is the only real spot because it lets him come out. Like you can just walk right here and see most of the board, which is very helpful. And then I had two little drones over here, one Mephitic, one blow drone, and my PVC hanging out right here. This is like you can't put 3 PVCs here because one will just be seen and will get blown up. And back to his deployment, like I said, it's almost identical. He has Tallyman back here because it's a Tallyman. I'm sorry, my Poxwalkers. I did something that's very important. I think on this matchup is deploying a Poxwalker on the line in front of a unit support. So for here, it's hard to see them. There's Poxwalkers right up here in front of his blow drum Mephitic combo. And if I charge them turn 1, they can't do anything turn 1. And they also can't really in melee. They physically can't kill 10 Poxwalkers. So like a blow drone can't shoot, so you probably just have to fall back. And Mephitic shooting plus melee, like you might. He did not, for instance. So having that gamble of if I go first, I get to screw my opponent is so good. And if they die going second, it's like fine. It's like not that important. And then I had another Poxwalker right here behind this wall. You can't see it, sorry. But yeah, Poxwalker here, Poxwalker here, Poxwalker here. His are similar, but slightly hidden. One here. This position's okay, but I don't like it because it's like you're open here. If you go here, or in my instance here, you can just see the unit and it's open, which I didn't really want to. That's not doing anything. It's not like a job doing anything. If you go second and they die, because this at least is letting you charge and kill something or not kill something, touch something. And also about Poxwalker suicide charging is since they have lethal and essentially AP1. They do random damage. Oh, and sorry, back to the demons really quick. Is you pick? I don't know if it was obvious. You pick -1 to hit against demons, which is also another reason that's super fair because you actually get to pick an ability that screws them over really bad. But yeah, back to the desk guard, and then he had, like I said, his other one was the Saint Swat's one right here. So I go first, and normally, like I said, you should probably be focusing on the dumber units like the Poxwalkers or maybe like the Help Roots and stuff. Something that's very easy to kill. But I decided to killing the Mephitic, shooting the Mephitic, because for multiple reasons. The biggest one is it's surrounded by 4 different units. There's a character here and 3 vehicles. So that's 5 different mortal wounds you get a roll every turn. And 2 is if you focus fire killing the vehicles, whoever has less vehicles is just going to lose. Like the Poxwalkers are nice, but they're not going to do too much in this matchup besides just holding objectives and like randomly dying stubbers. But this is a damage matchup. Whoever has the most things is gonna win. So I'm like, all right, if I can kill one Mephitic turn 1, I'm in an amazing spot. And then my other target was like, it didn't really matter because it was a Talisman in case I killed him with like 2 Mephitic, so I can shoot another guy here. I didn't really care about Talisman otherwise. I feel like the CP doesn't freaking matter at all in this attachment. So I go first, and I got relatively lucky as I killed this thing in 2 Plague Scholars, and I did an immense amount of mortals. He also exploded. So combined, I think I did about 25 mortals to this thing, this group over here, which put me at an amazing spot, me going 1 before he takes turn 1 charge. And since me going first, I also walked them up, they got their 4-inch charge, and they touched both these tanks. I took like a dude or 2 in combat. He had to fall back his blow drum back here on his turn 1, stay in combat here, try and kill him. Did not kill him, left me with about a Poxwalker, which let me do the best thing of having a single Poxwalker fall back, keeping people in contagion. And then, let's look at secondaries again. So, as you can see, I got the overwhelming force on turn 1 by killing the Mephitic, that was right here. And the engage, which I just got by having Poxwalkers here. Well, the thing is that we also both did that I've never done in 40k, is neither of us moved a single model besides him falling back his blow drum on turn 1. Like he kind of shuffled like his whole route like here, but for all this purpose, he didn't move literally anything, and I didn't move a single model except for just the uh, just the Poxwalkers, which I've never done, which is kind of silly. But this is table six. Like I said, if we moved our guys slightly up, we're just seen, and we're getting a shot and die to his whole army. You go over here, you can be seen by almost everything, especially these guys over here and these guys over here. It's just really bad. It's not a very good time. So neither of us moved on turn one at all. And on turn two, we also didn't move too much besides deep strikes. So back scored. So yeah, like I said, I scored overwhelming force and engage for those things. On his turn two, he does essentially the same thing as me. But I don't think he killed my Mephitic. Yeah, he did not kill him. He got him down like 2 wounds or whatever. And did some amount of mortals to these units right here, but not a lot. Because like I said, he didn't get bring it down. That's why and then he got marked for death by killing. He might have did kill these Walkers, I'm sorry. I guess he did. See, it was a month ago, so I don't remember. So he would have picked these. I picked 30 units that were invincible, and he must have picked the Poxwalkers for his Omega or whatever. Then on my turn two, I got him marked for death, not engaged. I picked marked for death on his Mephitic because I was like, all right, I drew over a force marked for death that says kill one model. It says kill a Mephitic, so that's what I did. On my turn two, I drew engage, which is what I got by having Poxwalkers and like Death Shroud, Deep Striking in, and assassinate. What did I get assassinate on? I think I killed his Tallyman on turn two. Because I killed him with 2, and then I shot this Tallyman and did 3 damage. I did 2 damage plus 1 mortal, so I brought down to 1 wound. And did, like, I think mortal to this guy too. Like I said, I did a bunch of mortals on turn 1. So assassinate, I killed. There was only really 2 options. I'm pretty sure I did not kill his Lord of Virulence. It might have been with mortals, but I think I killed his Tallyman because it was super easy to kill. But yeah. And then his turn 2, he just got secure. Because like we were doing the same thing, he was like walking his dudes up. I brought Death Shroud in. I brought them in over here, I'm pretty sure, to like charging these vehicles. No, sorry, I brought him in the middle to charge his. I killed these Poxwalkers with him. To kill this guy. I charged him in, kill this guy. He heroicked his other Hellbrute in. So I killed his Hellbrute, and then his Hellbrute kills like 1 Death Shroud. Because he got unlucky, he rolled some 1s on the D6 1 damage, and I survived. And then on my turn, I just stayed in combat and killed him, which is bad for him. So yeah, so I got Assassinate, Engage. He just gets secure. I start scoring a bunch of primary. And then turn 3, I Bring It Down, Display of Might. At that point, I had started killing like way more vehicles, and he had killed essentially nothing, except maybe an Amphitic. So I started bringing dudes out in the middle. He brings some Death Shroud over here to charge me. He does, but then, like I said, I have 2 more Death Shroud, and he has no more. And I can start bringing them in and doing things. Like I brought a Death Shroud over here to kill these things over here and just like walk around like afterwards and speed impossible to deal with. And yeah, that was the game. Like I said, it was essentially spiraled from turn 1. It combos with me having successful turn 1 and him having not successful turn 1. And me having more Death Shroud, him not having Death Shroud, because he says essentially useless Hellbrutes. And here's the reserves. I know he's got reserved 1 Photobotron. He brought these Terminators and Deep Strike, and he might have done 1 Mephitic too, but I don't think he did. Game 6. This was my first night game. This was the very, very big skew Lancer list. So he brought 3 Lancers, 1 with sticky objectives, Mr. Canis, a Knight Crusader with the Deep Strike, and he had the Melt-A-Gun, and an Account Assassin. He's got a total of like 7 models. 6 models, actually, sorry. If a Knight player tells you to not bring Assassinate, bring it down, they're lying. Do pick it. Because even if you don't max it out, it requires no thought process in what you're doing. When you don't have to think about secondaries and you can think of just killing the skew vehicle list, you're in a much better spot. The mission, though, sorry, we're playing Terraform Sweep Engagement, which is like the weird Dawn of War. It's like this on layout 5. This is the one GW mission where we sometimes play Dawn of War type things, and it's really bad. And this is Terraform 2. Yeah, and as you can see by the primary differential, he has good primary. I have bad primary. But the benefits was I could focus on just killing and not doing anything else. So his deployment, though, is what confused me, I guess. He kind of just deployed out in the open and essentially did not give a crap. Like, he had this guy right here at the bottom right. I can't really shoot him. But this guy was directly on the open. I could see with my whole army once I moved out, and you'll see by my play in a second. And then he had Candace, who was the one who couldn't be seen as a Lancer. I guess he was just like relying on 4 people and save 28 wounds, which is not incorrect, to say the least. So one benefit, one great tech about Poxwalkers, and this is, since this knight is just 4 knights with a 4th invul save, and 2 guys that kind of get afflicted by the -1 save, this is one of the few times we can pick -1 to hit. So these guys are only hitting on 3s, the Crusader's hitting on 4s, for instance. Crusader's a deep strike right here. Is the Poxwalkers can charge the knight on turn 1, and the knight has 10 attacks now hitting on 3s, wounding on 2s, and you might save a Feel No Pain. It's 3 damage, so you could live. It's very unlikely, but you could. You essentially can't, for all intents and purposes, like, anything can happen. But for all intents and purposes, you can expect him to not die to 1 Lancer in combat. So that's amazing for you. So that's what I do. Turn 1, he goes first, lucky for him. Actually, sorry, I don't know who went first. I went first, sorry. But I go up and charge his knight on hit my turn 1. And, like I said, he kills like 8 of them or whatever, but only like 8 of them, because that means knights cannot fall back and do anything. They're just stuck in combat. So that was perfect for me. He can't like advance, do anything. He's just stuck in combat. He can like fall back over me, but that's like perfect. That's like one good thing you could try doing into knights, is setting up those turn 1, or just like charging in with things that they can't kill. So back into my deployment though, I had these Poxwalkers behind here. Candace didn't have enough move speed to shoot these guys in turn 1, so they were completely safe. Setting affliction, setting up charges, it was a good spot. This is Fiddick over here, just ready to shoot something. Like, it's kind of just in the side. I don't really have him in his positions. Like, maybe he could have been back here, but whatever. And then I had my 3 PBCs ready to, because they could all just come out here, come out here to shoot him. Because, like I said, he just deployed his Lancer right here, so I was like, all right, my whole army will be here, I guess. And this is GW runes. They actually they had places you could stand. So actually, for the first time ever, I actually put a vehicle on top of a rune. This patch is very weird. I had to get a judge to measure it for me. But yeah, so I had my little. This is the biggest like castle I could do possibly. I had some little Poxwalkers over here to deal with the Lancer again, because I just wanted to deal with the side Lancer, because I was focusing on the middle Canis. Because the second you kill, like in this, especially in this type of army, if you kill 2 knights, the game's essentially over. He has nothing left he can do anything with, and since his knights don't have guns, it's like double good. So since he deployed on the open, I deployed heavily like this, and what I did was I just moved everything to see this Lancer turn 1. And I did like 20-something damage to it. I got slightly unlucky, but like, before it took his first turn, he had 1 Lancer, like 6 wounds, which is not good. And he can do nothing on turn 1. Like, he can maybe shoot Canis, and maybe kill a single shitter vehicle, but Canis would die instantly on the clapback, so he couldn't do that. He moved Canis like slightly up, but not in a way where I can't really shoot him efficiently. And then he moved his Lancer over here, charged me. He did not kill me, or I charged him, sorry. He fell back his Lancer. And that was that. He has a little Caldus over here. I don't know if I can see it on the map, but it's like deployed right here. Sorry, it's right here. Look at that. He deployed around here in this area and just moved up to hold this objective all game. Just stood right here. So on my turn 2, I do the same thing. I kill this Lancer. I deep strike. This is the thing you should never do, but this is one army you can do. I deep strike all 3 Death Shroud. Canis was up here, next to Canis. Like, Death Shroud here, Death Shroud here, Death Shroud here. To kill him. Because Canis is the easiest to kill model in the army. He does less wounds. He doesn't have a funny invul save, especially in melee, etc., etc. And he's like the only model in the army that does literally anything. Crusader is like, okay. But Lancers are just melee dudes, don't have guns. And I passed all my charges. I did some like grenade them, did some damage. Like I said, I killed this. I was focusing on only Canis and this Lancer. The other Lancer was like in the middle, holding objective, and the other one was kind of just having to deal with the side of my army. He's not doing much. And I fight Canis with one guy, do like 20 damage to him with the first squad, and then he interrupts and pops his Dev Wound strat, and rolls like 4 5s and 6s to hit, and like 5 5s and 6s to wound. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. So he one-shotted my second Lord of Catadium squad before they fought, and then the second shitter squad, it didn't do too much damage afterwards. They did kill him. But yeah, Canis absolutely No, he actually split attacks. Sorry, he split attacks into my unled squad and my second Lord of Contagion squad, and killed the Lord of Contagion squad. I think the Lord of Contagion survived because of Fort Feel No Pain, and brought down the unled squad down to 1. So he killed like 5 Death Shroud, almost killed a Lord of Contagion on an interrupt, essentially. And I was like, and this guy's 3 damage, by the way, against 4 wound guys. So it's like a very bad profile to find it. He just rolled so many 6s, it was like awful. I was like, Jesus. Because that's what, like, that type of play almost spiraled the game out, because I had, those models needed to survive me to do anything. Because by the time on his turn 2, he had 2 knights. He rapid ingressed a knight here, his Crusader. Oh, sorry, that's what it was. I didn't shoot the Lancers because he just, for some reason, rapid ingressed a knight here, where I could just see it. It was very weird. Like, he could just put it behind the wall, because it was one more thing he could see. And then Canis, and I had to focus on both of those, so I couldn't kill the Lancer. So I just killed the Lancer. I had to deal with Canis with melee, that's why I put all 3 Death Shroud. I'm like, all 3 Death Shroud can kill him with melee. It's not an issue. And then I'll just focus on shooting the Crusader and killing the Lancer. So I killed the Lancer with not too much effort. I had like 6 wounds left. So he had essentially 2 unmolested Lancers, which I had to deal with in the next turn. I target the Crusader with everything because my whole army could see it, except for 1 PVC, I think, was shot at Canis, and do like a lot of damage. I think between 15 and 20 damage. It's like a lot of damage because I'm like no wounds. So I'm like, if you just put it behind the wall, I can't shoot it with almost anything. It was very weird. It just like felt very cocky. It was very weird. It was a weird game. So on his turn, he moves his Lancer up to kill a PVC and pile into a second one. So I set myself up to heroic my Lord of Virens, which is both, and a play you never want to do because my Warlord, so on their next turn they'll get a 5 Feel No Pain, but a play I had to do, because he cannot kill a Lord of Virens plus a PVC in combat with a Lancer. It's just almost impossible. Like, he would have to do 3 attacks in the Lancer, 2 attacks in Lord of Virulence, and 1 shot him with all the sweeps, hit and wound every single time, and I failed both saves. And then he actually even couldn't kill PVC because he got 12 wounds. So that was a perfect play for me. So I heroic the Lord of Virulence. He just killed the Lord of Virulence and did no damage to the PVC, which was fine to me. Because on the next turn, I would fall back to PVC, but then the rest of my army, he would not be stuck in combat with 2 PVCs. The rest of my army would be fine to go shoot him. And on my turn 3, all he has is a Crusader that's almost dead. I blow up the Crusader. I kill a Lancer, and then he's just left with like 1 Lancer. 1 Lancer and a Calidus. That's why he's still getting primary, because he has like 2 Terraforms and like a Calidus doing nothing, but he essentially has no models by the end of this game. And then on my turn 5, I kill his last knight. This was just like a game that starts the vehicle skew matchup. We're both playing vehicle skew armies. It's really whoever rolls better. In this instance specifically, it was him deploying weirdly and letting me get free damage onto him for no reason, which led to his downfall. But we'll see this more into the second night game, the second Imperial Knights game, where it's just like dice rolls. Alright, though, the Shadow Round. This was the hardest night game. And he's playing the most unconventional type of list. So he's got 2 Despoilers with Gatling and Rocket Pods, 2 Huntspins with a small Meltagun, 3 Carnivores with a Havoc, 3 Stalkers, which are the scouting guys, with the big Meltagun, the Havoc Launcher, and the Claw, and then some Demons. He had 2 Beast Nurgle and 3 Nurglings. 2 squads of 3. We were playing Purge the Foe, which is the kill more, hold more primary. Crucible Battle, so the diagonals again, and then on layout 2. So why this was the hardest? Because as you can see, he's only got 2 big knights, and I picked -1 save, as you almost always do. But he's got 8 small knights and like 2 Beast Nurgles, which are like almost small knight. The issue with this is a big knight is not substantially harder to kill than a small knight is for Death Guard. He's not like 2 times harder. It's like maybe 1.5 times harder to kill. So there's all these small idiots that take almost the same amount of effort. In a lot of ways, the exact same amount of effort, because you're using the Lord of Virens' ability to target a knight to get 4 rerolls, and if you're using that on a small knight instead of a big knight, you're losing so much value. So he's got all these idiots who are walking around, charging me, shooting me with their annoying little guns, and it was very difficult because, like I said, I don't have a lot of units. I have 7 vehicles and 3 infantry squads, then some cultists. I don't have a lot of things. Well, he essentially has more units than me. He actually just does have more units than me, and they're all just big vehicles. And this is a very favorite mission for him. This is Perch. It would be even more favorite if it was like all big knights, but either way, it's still favored because it's just kill more, and hold more. I luckily can always hold, that's why I can stay in primary, because this is at least one where you get primary for holding your backfield and stuff, which is great. Some of the missions don't, that we were playing. And this game came down to the wire, because well, we made plays like he like turn one, he like scouted all stalkers, put some guys over here, put some guys up here. I blocked them off with box walkers. I moved this boxer to be full here so he couldn't walk through it at all. And he set up his despoilers, which stayed here all game. And this is why they're so good in this match, because one spoiler is on this ruin and one is on this ruin, and this one can see the whole map like this, and this one can see the whole map like this. So they're both just sitting in the back, just blasting me. And then he's playing Infernal, which gives you access to sustain or lethal, or +3 movement, which is insane on the carnivores. And then you have an ignore cover strat. And then you have the 4 of Invulsing strat, so it makes him much more durable in shooting. So yeah, like I said, he started piecemealing, like what I like to do with my little drones is he piecemeals his little vehicles at me, or just, and since all those things is like OC 6 to 10, and I'm OC like 3 at best, he just out OCs no matter what. And second, I have to point out to try and steal the OC back. He's like, die to the spoiler. So he sent out his vehicles. For reserves, I'm pretty sure reserve 1, maybe reserve 2, but I can't remember. This is also the Shadowrun. It's like fucking midnight. I'm sorry. This game is the hardest to remember the actual details about, except for the last turn. So the game essentially, like I said, it was just piecemealing each other's models at each other to try and kill them, and dealing with it, and combining. And then Havoc Launcher. It took him all to like his 6 Havoc Launchers killed like 4 Boxwalkers on like turn 2. It was super funny. They didn't do anything. They're hitting on 4s, and I get actually a cover save plus 3 pain. In the middle, I put my normal Mephitic, and he charged a Beast and Nurgle, and we had a Beast and Nurgle plus Mephitic combat for like 3 turns, because they both do not do anything in melee. Beast and Nurgle physically can't die in melee, because it's got the ability to fully heal at the end of a phase, so I didn't even bother rolling the damage, because it doesn't do anything. But eventually it came down to, on the last turn, I scored back to secondaries, obviously. I drew a third one, I discarded it. I can't remember. We were kind of like half-assing it by this time, so he was like, by turn 3 I had mostly tabled him. So yeah, on turn 4 he had the back to spoiler, which was still alive, this guy. And then like maybe a drone or one or two of these guys, and then on turn 5 he only had this guy. But the issue with only having one model is he gets kill hold, and if you see that, I get 8 points by killing him. If I can't, and he killed like a Poxwalker that was still alive. If I do not kill, the 8 points are getting, actually the 8 points were getting kill more. I would have lost. So he's like, on turn 5, we're like, yeah, he kills you, and he's like, you get kill. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get killed. And like, you gotta kill me. I'm like, oh, holy shit, I do. I have to actually kill you. So the only thing I had left was 3 PVCs. I think my Lord of Venus was still alive, which carried it. Yeah, my Lord of Venus was still alive, and then I had some useless, maybe 1 drone. I think I had 1 drone. So essentially, it was 3. No, it was just 3 PVCs. I had a PVC here and like 2 over here, in the middle. It was essentially, can 3 PVCs kill a knight who's almost at full health in 1 activation? And they did. Luckily, because I would have lost. They didn't. Because I had the Lord of Venus still alive, because he had no way of getting to that model and killing him. But yeah, that essentially was how the game went. If I couldn't kill it, because Purge the Foe is funny. If I couldn't kill his, because that is literally a 16-point differential. He gains 8 points and I lose 8 points. I mean, 16 points in his favor, which is like, I have 1 model alive and I killed 1 model. You must kill my full wound knight. And I'm like, oh god. But yeah, they did it, which caused me to win the Shadowrun, go in the top 4. And then round 8. This is versus the second Knights, which was Mr. Ben Jerk, good friend of mine. This is a take and hold, very favored for him. He's a great primary army. I'm a very bad primary army. I got best, it lets me score 5 in the midfield, in the backfield, which is nice. You can see that's what I did for the first 2 turns. And then Search and Destroy, another favorite. This is a double favorite for him. He has a close terrain format, which lets him get closer to me and charge me. He's on take and hold. And then layout 2 is like neutral. It's like whatever for either of us. Like layout 2 maybe is slightly favorite for me because I can like hide in these little pockets. I can hide in here. It's a little nice. But this was the epitome of what I was saying. Because like his list is very simple. Canis, 3 Atropos, 4 Helverins with Stubbers. Very simple, not a lot of models. I do the same thing, assassinate, bring it down. Even though he doesn't max assassinate, he almost does. Like, you see, I maxed it out. I tabled his army. Like a normal night list would max it out. But it's essentially a vehicle skew versus vehicle skew. One player is probably going to roll better than the other one. And that's what happened. Turn 1, I go first. I target 2 Armigers because those are the only things you can kill with mortars, point walls, or it's anything. I think I do like 10 damage to 1 Armiger. That's it. I don't kill one, but it's almost dead, which is nice. My Poxwalker here, he walked on the objective, as you do. I have my wall of Poxwalkers over here. It's spread out so you can like walk into me. But then I put my 3 vehicles like right here. Because the way Canis and this Atropos were positioned, they had no way of getting an angle to shoot me on turn 1 over here. So I was very safe here. And then I just like shuffled my models around over here and they didn't really do anything. He moves like a Helveron in the middle. He moves Canis behind this wall over here, ready to come out and kill me on turn 2. And he moves an Atropos down here to this objective, and 1 over here to this objective. But he rolls a 1 when running through this wall for Battle Shock, which was very bad. Maybe it cancels like back here, this Atropos here. I think that's actually correct. I think these deployments are switched, but it was something like this. Like I said, all my deployments are not going to be correct. These are me just trying to remember from memory from 3 weeks ago. It's hard. So he rolls a 1. He can't use any strats. And so I'm like, okay, this Atropos is killable. He can't use strats. He's Battle Shock now, so he can't steal my primary, which is nice. Double nice. So I move, I poke my blow drone here, Mephitic here, I put another blow drone here, another blow drone here to shoot them. They're right here, so they can either shoot at this Atropos or shoot at this Atropos, which is nice. And then I have to start poking out my actual Plague Rush cars. Like this one moves through the wall, this one like goes over here to shoot him over here. Or maybe it can't, I can't remember exactly. And this one just comes out right here, so it can shoot here. So we lined it up exactly where these blow drones could shoot him. And if he's dead, I can shoot this guy up here. So, and I target him with my rerolls. So I shoot both my Mephitics and do like 25 damage to him. Because he rolled essentially no saves, I rolled pretty good in damage. And that was really bad for him. And then he dies in the middle of a blow drone activation, not even a full blow drone. So he loses a whole Atropos on his turn, essentially his turn 1, my turn 2, to 3 little shitter vehicles. So it also means I get to invest a lot of shooting into this Atropos, which took like 10 to 15 damage too from the rest of my army without any like buffs. So he's already on the back foot. He charges some Poxwalkers, kills most of them, doesn't kill all of them, so I have Poxwalkers just hanging right here. On his turn 1, he actually kills a lot of things. His turn 2. I don't remember if I brought my Deshram down too. I might have brought because Deshram came down and murdered Canis on turn 2 or 3. I think it was turn 3 they did that. That sounds correct. Yeah, that's where the 6 extra points comes down. So they came out on turn 3 and murdered him. So on turn 2, I don't think I even brought down Deshram at all. I'm trying to remember. So they didn't really want to fight the Atropos, that's annoying. They really only wanted to focus on Canis and killing Helveron. Because he also had Helverons just pseudo-screening, so they didn't really have good places to be. So he sets up like 3 Helverons in like a line like this to shoot down Court because they have very long range and they're strength enough to kill a Helveron. And 1 was just in the middle at a low amount of moons hanging out with Canis, I'm pretty sure. So his turn 2, he literally destroys a PBC with like 2 Helverons and the +1 strength strat, which is very good for him. And then another one dies to the Atropos, so I'm down to 1 PBC. But the most of the rest of my stuff is still alive. I think maybe 1 drone had died. Like he was killing a good amount of my army too. But turn 3, he essentially lost everything. He lost, I'm pretty sure, both the Helverons, the ones that hang out in the middle, more of the forward ones, while 2 in the backfield. This Atropos dies because I have a low amount of health left. I think I brought down 1 Destro Squad to kill it. Oh, that's what I definitely did. I brought down a Destro Squad here, 2 to charge Canis for sure, and then on 1 stringed out 4 models 2 inches far away. So he was within 6 inches of both Canis, or the Armiger, I think. Yeah, the Armiger and the Atropos. So if I don't kill the Armiger in shooting, they charge him in. If I do, then they get charged in the Atropos. So it's a win-win for me. But I kill the Armiger. I'm pretty sure they charge this way. I think they went to the Atropos and killed him melee. But Canis, I shot around, killed the Atropos and the Armiger. Canis got double charged by 2 Death Shroud and got absolutely deleted. And by that point, he essentially had 1 small Atropos who was slightly wounded and 2 Armigers left, and that Atropos died on turn 4, as we see. This was not the Atropos. I just didn't score all the bring it downs I got because this is from killing like Helverons and stuff. Like this is probably killing a Helveron plus an Atropos, and a Helveron plus an Atropos. I think is what these scores were, or something like that. But I didn't just point all the points because he scores a lot more than 20 on bring it down. But essentially, it was the game. He rolled some bad saves, I rolled some good damage, and it plummeted from there for him. But we had a good time. And Death Shroud very good at killing knights and melee. And then the last game, this one I have actual pictures because it was streamed, and a lot of it was, was talked about on stream, so it's good that I don't have to go too much in depth. But this was the final game versus Subterranean Nids on Scorched Earth Crucible Layout 2, which looks like this. I'll look at my models. He has Death Leaper. This is a fairly normal Subterranean list. He has a little slight differences, but it's not too much like crazy stuff. Death Leaper, a Neuro Tyrant with the redeploy, Mr. Swarmlord, a Trigon, which had the Trigon Prime upgrade, the Gargoyles, Biovore, Hive Guard, Lictor, 1 big squad of Neurogons, I guess it's a small squad, 2 5-man Raveners, no Ravener Primes though, which that's a really good day sheet. Tyrant Effective Warfare, pretty normal, and a Zone Throw squad. So here's the deployments. As you can see, so he has 1 Ravener squad all the way in the back. So he had to put like everything as far away back to not get PBC, because Raveners are 3 wounds with T5 and a 4-up save, which means they get wounded on 2s, and he gets a 5-up save against PBCs, which is really bad to have. Oh, and he has a Norn Emissary. I'm sorry, I didn't write that down. He has a Norn Emissary. It was right here. But he has Swarmlord here, he has his Hive Guard here, and he has a Biovore here. And he has his little Death Leaper here with the surround effects here, and the Lictor over here. This Lictor was in combat with, I don't know if anyone wants to stream. This is a squad of zombies right here. He's in combat with these guys for like 3 turns. It's very funny. And then a 3rd PVC right here, which is hit by the dice box. So yeah, I had my 3 PVCers in a little triangle that they usually are, ready to, this one can move this way, this one can move this way, this one can move that way, and this one can move through the walls. It's my little Lord of Violence hanging out right here. My little forward drone, and like I said, I like having my forward vehicle ready to do stuff, die for the, Mortarion, I guess is how you say it. This is his Nord ejected, by the way, so that's his 15 OC guy. Squad of Poxwalkers over here, another squad of Poxwalkers over here, and then my 2 Mephitics here, ready to come to the midfield, ready to go this way, ready to shoot, more importantly, maybe Norns over here, because these would have been melter range. So yeah, that's turn 1. I just get recover assets and area denial. Very easy. I'm pretty sure I moved look at, we got real pictures. I moved a Mephitic right here to do recover assets. To do air denial, and recover assets was with something out of one unit over here. So yeah, like I turn 1, both of them don't do too much. I'm pretty sure I focused on killing some Hive Guard, or maybe the Biovore. I shoot the Biovore because I get 1 PVC in range, I'm pretty sure. Moving up, or he couldn't shoot me either. I got it down to like 2 wounds, so I did like 4 damage to it. So he had to, and I failed the more wounds. I remember I didn't kill it that way. So he had to stay in this exact corner for the rest of the game. He could not move because he's out of range, but then he'd been in range forever. And then the other one shoot the Hive Guard and kill like 1 or 2 of them. Not too much damage to turn 1. And then see the rest of it, I don't. This is essentially what happened. This guy moved up on turn 1. These guys moved out to hold this objective. This Amphitic, I think the second one just moved here. He didn't actually do anything. And like turn 2, he moved to go over here. Where's that damage from? So I got shot. Mephitic got shot by a Tyrannofix. Oh, that's right. Did I actually just move this Mephitic downwards in a position where it was kind of a bait for the Tyrannofix? That's what it was. Yeah, so one just like advanced this way because he had nothing to do, and the other one moved in the middle to do area to know. To set up his Tyrannofix being out here ready to get shot. And in turn 2, I like targeted these things so I could, with Affliction, so I could get them, so I could start deep striking over here. That was the plan. As you can see, I only deep striked 1 squad out of my 3. I moved a blow drone right here to just like shoot Deathly for Death, shoot the emissary, because I was planning on just killing the emissary. As you can see, I positioned my whole army this way to just move, just to shoot. I targeted the Northern Emissary with my rerolls, and this guy is poked out with his little wheel, so you can see, you can measure that with the judge and everything. And then I get both my blow drones, both this guy, and 2 of my PVCs to see, and this thing's only T11, so it became T10, and it died really quickly. Both blow drones did most of this damage, and then died to a couple of the other things, and then the rest of the PVCs should all shoot their mortars at these Raveners. I got them down to 2 health. And then I got my Death Shroud in, and they charged in. They charged the Tyrannifex and the Raveners, both with the mortars plus the 1 Death Shroud. I brought them down to 2, like I said. I killed this. I don't know if Death Leaper died, but I think he did. I think he died to something. Maybe in combat. So the Tyrannifex went down to like 1 health or whatever. He had to stay in combat just to shoot. Or maybe he just did die. I can't remember. It's hard to remember. He didn't really do anything because it died either then or on my next turn, and then they just like stayed behind this ruin to do stuff the rest of the game. So this, what I did though, the smart thing, which just brings up to over here, is I purposely did not screen over here because I wanted him to bring his important units like his Trigon, his, as you can see, his Zoanthropes, and everything down here in a place where I could control them. Because I'm like, if he kills my he's gonna maybe at best kill both PVCs, which is fine. I don't really care that much because it means I get to absolutely destroy them on the clapback because those are the only threatening units left in his army. Like these guys are like kind of threatening. They have shot cannons, which are anti 2 up 3 damage, but only 8 people in. You can have ignore cover if you want, but usually don't. But yeah, so I'm like, all right, I want him to be here because that's something I can control. I can't really interact and deal with if he comes down here to do stuff. So I'm like, I'm willing to sacrifice the Plague Callers. That works. I lose both of them. And then it sets me up to kill him because all my bow drones, like this one he has nothing to deal with this bow drone. He's kind of just chilling. He shot it with some shot cannons that lived. He's kind of just chilling for the rest of the game. And yeah, we'll get to the thing, which was also my main thing was I was setting up threatening a rapid ingress too. So I'm like, all right, so I'm showing this play right here. All right, so I'm going to rapid these guys behind this wall in a position where it looks like if he charges my Trigon into either of these Plague Burst Crawlers, the Death Shroud are like, doop, 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 like that, as we can see. I get to rope him, but I never actually planned on her. I was never going to rope, because the Trigon would kill 2 to 3 Death Shroud in combat, I'd be very annoyed, but it's in a way where he was very terrified of them, and he had to position his models. He had to like think of his turn completely different. Because my plan was, I'm not going to heroic, but he's going to think I'm going to heroic, which he did. And then I'm just going to charge in and murder him. Because it's just some Zoanthropes and a little Norn, or a Trigon, and Trigon's like T10. Because my plan went exactly as I thought it was. He killed 2 Plague Burst Crawlers, which was slightly annoying, but he killed 2 of them. So I had 1 Plague Burst Crawler, all my blow drones still alive. I blew up the Trigon shooting, and then the Death Shroud charged into the Zoanthropes. I got a bad charge, so I only got like 2 models into combat. So I didn't kill them all, but there's nothing you could do once they're in combat now, so they fell back to do some crap. And then I charged them and killed them. And then, by that point, all those important units were dead. The only things he had left alive was some of these shot cannons. Did I take a picture of turn 3? I did. Cool. So at turn 3, as you can see, here's my livers, my cool alive guys. Here's my Death Shroud squad, string out here, my Lord of Virulence, and my 2 drones, my PVCs, just moved up. He started bringing down his gargoyles. My fake still chilling in the middle. The one that almost died. And see, this is what I'm talking about. The Death Shroud, Death Leaper did die. The Norn died earlier, so my blow drone is just chilling on home field. Not much. It's disjected. Nothing you can do about it. While my Lord of Contagion squad is now doing, I think, sabotage. Yes, they got sabotage, which was like the perfect draw on turn 3, because I was already in his DZ killing these things, so I'm like, this unit's kind of out in the middle of nowhere doing nothing. I was just going to advance on objective. I do sabotage, so I'm like, this is a 6, and he has literally no way of killing this unit. So I just stood on here, got sabotage, or stood back here, whatever sabotage was for. Yeah, sabotage was like this, so I just had to stand on this terrain piece. And then he brought down his drones to steal objectives, which he did, and then they died. And then I brought down my 3rd Death Shroud squad right here to deal with this Hive Guard. On for a charge, I failed the charge, and then on turn 4, they just came to they were like, I took this picture before I deep strike, sadly, but they were right here. right here to go for 6-inch charge. I failed 6-inch charge, and then just went for they just cleaned up the middle. On turn 4 and 5, they're hanging out here, and that's what brings to like the last points. Because like if by turn 4 and 5, he had no models left alive. He was scoring a couple amount of points. He had like a squad of gargoyles, like his lictor, and like three dudes, whatever they're called, 3 high guard guys. So like most of my army, not most of my army, a good amount of army is still alive. So that just it sent me forward in the points. And yeah, that was the event, everyone. So that's my first tournament recap. Like I said, no real pictures. I'll have them in the future from now on. This is all from memory from like 3 to 4 weeks ago. So it's not like perfect, but I'll start writing things down. Coming up though, I have another Tacoma recap with 2 of my best friends, Nick Fromme and Alex Pena. Alex got in the top 8 with me. He was the only T-Sons player. And Nick went 7-1 playing Eldar. These are both lists I helped write, and they're both 2 of my favorite testing partners. So we're going to go into their stuff. I'm going to set up a PowerPoint similar to this one. And then right after that, a couple days later, or maybe I'll make that video first. I don't know, either or. The next video is going to be, I went undefeated again at a GT down in like Tampa like last weekend, where I have better information about it. That one will come out soon. And yeah, that's another 5-0. I won another golden ticket there, which, just for flavors, is my 3rd golden ticket this year. The funny thing about that event, there was 3 lists that were mine. There was my list, my friend who we were trying to help get a golden ticket, where I'm like, you're gonna just play my army, just play my hammer list, you'll do good. He got like 4th, so he got essentially my ticket passed down to him, so everything was perfect for him. And then one of the other local guys, one of my friends, I guess copied my list, or just took my list from Tacoma, and he played it too. So that was pretty funny. There was 3 hammer guys playing the exact same list. They're all playing my list. But yeah, that's it. Expect those games coming up soon. Soon I'll also make a video about how to play Mortarion's hammer, or how to play something like this. And then eventually, when hopefully this stuff gets nerfed, I can play my actual real armies I like playing, and then I'll start making how to play aggressive melee armies and stuff like that. So yeah, I appreciate everyone for watching and for sticking out. This is probably a very long time, but yeah, if you could subscribe and tell people about the channel, the video, that'd be great appreciated. I'm gonna try and make much more content. I got a new mic, so hopefully the video quality, the audio quality is a lot better. I'll get a new mic soon, or a new video camera soon. Maybe green screen stuff just to increase the production value. But yeah, I appreciate it, everyone. Thank you, and everyone have a great day.